Hello, this is a part of a multi-part series on Constitutional Commencement Day, April 30th, 1789. This webinar focuses in an overview fashion on the nature of civil covenants. Well, what is a civil covenant? It can be considered a solemn agreement between a group of people, their leaders, and God. There's components that are involved: the people themselves, the leaders, God, the written covenant, the public oath or signatures that acknowledge the covenant, the acknowledgement of God, the request for God's blessing, and the statement of commitment to Him. Now, the Bible gives us some ancient accounts of covenant making. First, God made a covenant with Abraham to be a father of a people as one example in the Scriptures. But then civil covenants begin to appear when the Ten Commandments are given to Moses, and the people willingly on their own accord form a covenant between their leaders, God, and the following of the given law through the Ten Commandments. Joshua renews a set of covenants as the Israeli people begin to move into the Promised Land. King David renews civil covenants as he seeks the Lord's blessing and his kingdom is established. King Solomon, as he builds the temple, renews a civil covenant committing himself and the people and the nation to God. And then a final example from the Old Testament is King Josiah renews the covenants after they had been lost and not practiced for many years. Some more modern examples, although centuries old, include examples from the Netherlands, from Switzerland, specifically the city of Geneva, from Britain, from Scotland, and from Ireland. And these are represented by actual documents: the Magna Carta of 1215, the National Covenant of Scotland of 1638, and the Solemn League of Covenant of 1643, which include England, Ireland, and Scotland. And these are just a sampling of some modern attempts at the civil covenanting process. Now let me move to another covenant type as a way to preview a point I'd like to make about National Constitution Commencement Day, and that is the example of the covenant of marriage. A couple begins their friendship as they move toward marriage, as they move toward dating and courting. On engagement day, it's the day that the couple says yes to marrying each other, and then on wedding day, the covenant is actually made, their covenant of marriage, which is between each other. Vows are exchanged before God and before family, friends, and witnesses. Well, our U.S. Constitution actually follows a national parallel. Our states began to date, if you will, when they put together the Articles of Confederation that they might work more closely together. Engagement Day for our nation might be considered Constitution Day when the Constitutional Convention finished the document of September 17, 1787, and that's a day that's frequently on calendars and celebrated in public schools with the teaching on the Constitution, September 17, 1787. But our national wedding day, if you will, when our Constitution actually was put into practice, occurred on April 30th, 1789, a less-known day. And on that day, which we might call National Civil Covenant Day, there's an agreement made between the people and leaders, a statement of purpose was made, an oath was made before God and before the people. And that's what this series explores in more detail, the nature of civil covenants and the more deeply spiritual aspect that exists as a parameter on our Constitutional Commencement Day of April 30th, 1789. Please explore the other elements of this series and keep this idea of civil covenanting in mind as you do so. My name is Craig Seibert. Thanks for listening.